What Cancer Taught Me. Let's watch together.
Today's my birthday. It has been the hardest year of my life, and I wanted to share something that I learned with y'all. When I was younger, I used to define myself as an actor, which was never really all that fulfilling. And then I became a husband, and that was much better. And then I became a father, and that was the ultimate. I could define myself then as a loving, capable, strong, supportive husband, father, provider, steward of the land that we're so lucky to live on. And for a long time, that felt like a really good definition to the question, who am I? What am I? And then this year, I had to look my own mortality in the eye. I had to come nose to nose with death. And all of those definitions that I cared so deeply about were stripped from me. I was away for treatment, so I could no longer be a husband that was helpful to my wife. I could no longer be a father who could pick up his kids and put them to bed and be there for them. I could not be a provider because I wasn't working. I couldn't even be a steward of the land because at times I was too weak to prune all the trees during the window that you're supposed to prune them. And so I was faced with the question, if I am just a too skinny, weak guy alone in an apartment with cancer, what am I? And I meditated and the answer came through. I am worthy of God's love simply because I exist. And if I'm worthy of God's love, shouldn't I also be worthy of my own? And the same is true for you.
Incredibly well said, especially because so many of our identities, whether it's athlete or teacher or lawyer or husband or father or wife or son, daughter, etc., it's like what happens to us if we can no longer be the best at those things? And it's like, I know from my own experience when it comes to going through a whole life-threatening illness and subsequent healing challenges and a whole journey of my own, for so much of my life, I was so tied into my value as a human comes from being the best athlete I could be. But it's like then there was a period of time where I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't play sports, I couldn't lift weights, I didn't have the same levels of strength like I always had. But did this mean that like I was no longer worthy of love and that like I was no longer worthy of God's love? No. And going through crazy health challenges really shows you like what's important in life. And so like I hope that like you guys don't have to go through that in order to have the same perspective like that I have now, which is that who you are as a person will always be more valuable and will always be more important than what you do. What you do is great. Find your passions, follow your passions, as I'm always saying, but then strip down all these man-made identities and realize like who you are as a person is worthy of love no matter what. And you have to have this own unconditional self-love for yourself.